want you to fail. Each and every one of you. And I'm not talking about something small like missing the birth of your firstborn child. You can laugh, it's okay, that's funny. No, I want you to fail massively. Now, I'm not a cynic or a pessimist. And in reality, I really just want you to succeed. But I believe failing does not make you a failure, but can bring you closer to success. Failing can teach you a lesson, and it can give you perspective. In my experience as a first-generation brown girl, raised by two Indian immigrant parents, failure was unacceptable. We were taught to achieve, succeed, and be the best. So achieve, succeed, and be the best we did. We were praised for our good grades, lauded for being at the top of the class. And what we didn't see was that though my parents didn't expect perfection, 98 out of 100 on the algebra exam, that was tolerable. That we were still using success and failure as a measure of who we were. I was using success and failure as a measure of who I was. Success meant I was good. Failure meant I was bad. I was so focused on the anticipated outcomes of success that I failed to see the lessons along the way. Now, my maiden name is Bhatt. Yes, Bhatt, spelled B-H-A-T-T. So naturally, you'd think you'd open up the phone book and find them under the B's, right? But I'm going to let you in on a little family secret. They were actually listed under the G's. G-U-I-L-T. Or as my sister and I like to call them, the Gilts. Now, don't get me wrong, my parents were our most fervent advocates and cheerleaders. They just wanted us to make our way in the world, to really tap into our potential and work hard. But anytime I strayed from the plan, gosh, I felt so disappointed in myself. I felt bad. I felt like I wasn't enough. And I felt guilty. Not because of what my parents said, but because of my self-imposed measure of success and failure. As a first-generation brown woman and mother of two young brown boys, I found that I've carried on the family name, the Gilts. Try harder. Why aren't you getting this right the first time? I said this as my son fervently erased the B that was supposed to be a D. You can't go into kindergarten not knowing your B from your D. You're smart. Act like it. Think. Use your brain. I was frustrated. And as I happened to look down at my sweet 5.5-year-old son's face, look up at me in disappointment and sadness and guilt, it hit me. Unlike my parents, here I was absolutely expecting success and perfection from my son. I was implicitly teaching him that failure was unacceptable. It was a negative to be avoided. It was not okay. And though my son got his B and D mixed up, I was the one who had gotten it all wrong. I had gotten failure all wrong. My sweet 5.5-year-old son's face taught me 2 realizations about failure. Realization number 1, failure is a lesson to be learned. When I first found out I was pregnant for the first time, I was elated, over the moon, and I was committed to being the most perfect mother ever. I was gonna buy the anti-stretch mark cream and rub it all over on day one. I was gonna fill my maternity wardrobe with all the cutest outfits from Ann Taylor The Loft. I was gonna work out and eat right and be fit. I had this motherhood thing down. Oreo stole my vision from me. Double stuffed Oreos, to be specific. I literally ate half a pack of Oreos every day of my last trimester, and what happened 50 pounds later was far from perfection. I went in for my first labor induction at 1 p.m. on a Tuesday afternoon, and by 7 p.m. that evening, my OB solemnly came in and said, "Your induction has failed." But I chose to see the light. And what was not a failure that day was the beautiful burrito bowl from Chipotle that my husband brought for me for dinner. You guys, the guacamole to sour cream ratio was perfection. My husband looked at me oddly and said, "Honey, I think you're just hungry." And I said, "Honey, I am so disappointed that you can't recognize a beautiful burrito bowl when you see one." After my second labor induction attempt, the result was not a beautiful burrito bowl, but instead the most beautiful baby boy I'd ever seen in my life. Perfect, even. But motherhood was tough. Breastfeeding was painful. Going back to work after 3 months, that felt like torture. I was sad, sleep deprived, and depressed. I didn't see my baby enough. And I felt like I wasn't enough. I felt like a failure. After baby number 2 came along, I took that roll book and I threw it out the window. I breastfed for as long as I wanted to, and I took 2 years off to find my purpose again, as not just a mother, but as Radhika. What I viewed failure before was simply a lesson that I needed to learn. I didn't have to be the perfect mother. I was enough. I didn't have to have my hair in a classic messy bun while I wore my brand name loungewear in a picturesque pose breastfeeding my baby, like all the moms on Instagram. My kids didn't look like they just walked out of a Gap commercial. And even on my most unperfect days, I heard the words, "Mama, you're the best mama ever." Realization number 2. Failure is all about perspective. Growing up, I was known by a different name. I was not Radhika Bhatt, but I was Radhika Bhatt. Radiconda, after the movie Anaconda came out. And my favorite, Ridiculous. I know, that was a good one, right? I was made fun of the ways my knees looked. The classic Toyota tan-colored station wagon that I drove to school that got a lot of looks, but probably for all the wrong reasons. And last but not least, the lip hair that plagues every Indian girl at birth. I was made fun of for the things that I couldn't control. And though this wasn't failure in the conventional sense, I felt like one. Felt like I wasn't normal or enough. Today's quite different. My name is Radhika Bhatt Trivedi. My knees have served me well in this life. I think they're doing a stellar job right now, don't you think? Yes, let's give it up for the knees. Thank you. And let's just say laser hair removal has been a steadfast friend to me these past few decades. Shout out to Tanya in the back. Thank you. What I thought was success, how others viewed me, was not really success at all. But I realized that I could change how I viewed failure, and that how I viewed myself was true victory. I used to believe failure was because I wasn't perfect. But now I know failure is simply a lesson to be learned. I used to believe that failure was what others thought of me. But now I know that failure is all about perspective. In this new era, I want you to succeed, each and every one of you. And I want you to succeed immensely. But in order for us to get closer to that success, I want you to be comfortable with knowing that failing does not make you a failure.